Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. And so another week returns with a thud. Monday comes round once again with the predictability of a bowel movement following the curry from the night before. That's right, but fear not! I am here with some custom low-order pro business to take away your woes. It's going to be a 2v2. First of all, though, where have all my replays gone, fellas? They have dropped off a cliff, the amount of submissions coming my way. I don't know what it is. Either you guys have all gone on holiday and you stopped playing Supcom, or you just don't like me anymore. And I know the former isn't true because I log on every now and again and see decent numbers in the FAF client. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but come, give me your replays. Don't be put off by the fact that you haven't been casted yet. There's always a first time. I want to go into a detail about what I really like. Many of you already know, but yes, I like com drops and all that sort of things, but I just like something balanced. That's what I want. I want a decent game, so not a complete curb stomping. Preferably lots of action throughout, so not too many lulls with, you know, large breaks in the action, that sort of stuff. And no desyncs, please. I mean, if it desyncs in the last few seconds of a replay, that is okay. But if it desyncs at any point throughout the body of the replay, it's generally a big no-no. So please check for desyncs first before submitting them, because otherwise I end up wasting my precious time watching a replay that I get all excited about only to go in the last 10 minutes of an hour and 15-minute replay. Gets me a little bit upset. Anyway, sometimes I should just actually record what has happened. I should keep the recordings. Well, I don't usually record at that point because it's, yeah, that's later on, but I should actually record me watching them just so you can see the frustration when that happens. It happens, well, I don't know, must happen about 3 or 4 times a month or something. I get really quite upset about it. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get on with today's game. As we said, it's going to be a custom 2v2. It's going to be low-order pro level, and it's going to go down on a map that hasn't featured before on Guilecast. It's going to go down on Anchor. I'm ready. You guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. So here we are. We'll take a look at the map in just a second. Go back to Observer. For some reason it's switched over there to one of the players. Ridiculously, the user interface believes that this is Team 1 down here at the bottom left, and this is Team 2 up here at the top right. But we are going to go with the flow, because there's not much else we could do, and it will get confusing if I contradict it. So going first for Team 1, down here at the bottom right in mellow yellow, we have Turin Turamba, who quickly renames his commander there to You Only Live Once, abbreviated. And he is going to go first land there and go Seraphim. And next up, over to the northwest, we have his teammate, which I'm presuming that's a silent H at the beginning of his name there. It's Zale, as we're going to be referring to him during the course of this one, in Cybrin Fecal Brown, bless him, opening first land. So that is Team 1. As we move across the other side of the map there for Team 2 in Electric Blue, right up kind of against the edge of the map there, we have Achieve Jaguar. Must be making his 7th or 8th appearance now here at Guilecast. He's going UEF, how very sensible, and opening first land, going second air, throwing that down next to the Hydro there. And last but not least, his teammate up here to the northwest, we have the Bone Collector, or rather just Bone Collector, also going UEF in Volvo Beige. Very sensible, opening first land. So 2 UEF there for Team 2, and a Seraphim and a Cybrin for Team 1. So at least we don't have an all-out Cybrin killing spree, as we have basically seen little else here at Guilecast for the last few months. Anyway, let's take a look at the map. So this must be a relatively new map. Either that or it's just suddenly found favor with the community, because I'm seeing this everywhere at the moment. I've had quite a few, actually I haven't had quite a few replay submissions, because that would contradict what I'm saying at the beginning of the cast, but I've had a few replay submissions on this map, and I think the anchor is pretty obvious down to the rock formation, the geological formation here in the center of the map, resembling what else? Very similar to an anchor. Lots of ice caps and icebergs dotted around there for reclaim value. You've got this high ridge up at the top left edge of the map. 3 plateaus with various pathways up the top. Again, lots of ice there for reclaim, and this side island down on the other side of the map with 3 mexes on it. So definitely worth conquering there, again with yet more reclaim to get your hands on. Quite open terrain between the 2 sets of teams there, with craters and Jesus, that's a lot of mass piled up there in the form of ice as well. So plenty of reclaim to get these 2 teams started here. Game quality is at 93% on this one. That one variant there being Zale on 1600. Everybody else is in the 1500 range, so just over the cusp there for pro status. So taking a look at what these guys have been doing while I've been rabbiting on, you can hear the first bombs coming away there from Achieved Jaguar. T1 bomber picking off, which is something which is probably an engineer, and then circling around for another NG that's in the bay working on the naval yard. Tirintiramba tries to evac that engineer but doesn't manage to do so in time. We've got air scouts out over both of Team 2's bases up there at the top right. Another T1 bomber out over here there for Bone Collector. And we've also got quite a few T1 land units dotted about already. Zale bearing down on one of Bone Collector's NGs, which is making his way to the top left edge of the screen. He's not going to make it. I'm pretty sure that Mantis is going to scalp him without too much difficulty. Another Mantis there belonging to Zale might be successful in picking off this mass bump. We do have a striker inbound, but it's going to be too late to prevent that mass extractor from going down. There it goes. Striker will probably grab the kill on the Mantis there. Transport's now in the air. Courier out for Achieved Jaguar, making a play for the bottom right-hand corner. And the inevitable response, or not so much a response, but the predictive response, shall we say, from Zale, sending out a couple of interceptors over to try and guard the airways on that side of the map, but that's just a fraction too late. Down go the engineers, who are immediately going to start work on the large ice clumps around the pond on that side island. They want to try and clear a space and get a land factory online ASAP, lest they get counter-dropped, which doesn't actually look like it's on the cards anytime soon, but they're not likely to know that with any actual certainty. And slight lull in the action as these guys figure out where they're going next. Both Zale and Tirintiramba are in the middle of the map now with their ACUs. Tirintiramba rolling onto the walkway that goes up onto that anchor formation. Going to pick up a few spots of reclaim and that mass extractor on the stem of the anchor there. Now we've already got one engineer that's over in the corner trying to get a land factory online there for Zale, but that's going to get gunned down by a platoon of strikers. Also managed to take down the well, I said they're going to take down the mass extractor. They pull out the last minute to combat the Mantis, which are flowing in single file from Zale. And obviously he doesn't know how many are coming that way. Hasn't got any intel on that side of the map, so it looks like he's going to pull away. That mass extractor will survive on 264. Meanwhile, a few exchanges of fire in the center of the map between Tirintiramba and Achieved Jaguar. And that THAM not going to cause any more problems there for Team 2. Finally gets popped by one of those strikers sat in the middle. Over the bottom right-hand corner, those NGs didn't manage to get a land factory online in the end. Looked like they were clearing space just for it, unless that's where the ice was settled. It does look like they've cleared that up. They did pick up a mass extractor, although that is now under attack from Tirintiramba's T1 bomber spam. Another one heading out over there as well. It should amount to 4, I think. We already have some naval play on the scene there for Tirintiramba. Has one frigate that was obviously sent straight over there to deny anything happening on this side of things. We've got one wreck down there, but I can't see any other evidence of any naval yards that's been denied for Achieved Jaguar. That doesn't mean it hasn't happened. But certainly that gives Chiramba a nice advantage here. All he has to do is tech up to T2 Navy now and start sending some cruisers up to achieve Jaguar's way, and he will be in a pretty pickle with cruise missile problems heading in from the bay there. Chief Jaguar getting an upgrade on his comm. Already has the T2 engineering suite on board. Both the ACUs there for Team 1. Happy in the middle still. Upgrade for Chiramba. Nearly complete. Zale's going to be assisting his teammate there. No upgrade on Zale's ACU as yet. Bone Collector, meanwhile, has got the T2 engineering suite on board his commander, and slightly out of position for the large wave of Mantis that's coming in from the west. And of course you can see virtually no intel on this side of things, and it's not down to power, so he needs to get some radar online ASAP. He's completely blind, and that might be why he missed that group of units coming in. Triad being spammed up pretty quick. Wants to follow that up with some intel so that thing will actually be functional. And a drop down to the bottom right from Chiramba's landed 3 units of build capacity down there. You can see a land factory queued up, so it looks like he might be about to take and hold the bottom right for the moment, as Team 1 actually look pretty badly pinned down at the moment. And there is the upgrade underway to the T2 Navy for Chiramba. As we suggested earlier, already at 68% and climbing, that progressing very quickly indeed. And the Mantis we saw earlier for Zale, right in the center now of Bone Collector's base. He's had a serious containment failure. Even got the odd unit of Chiramba on the ground causing problems as well. Chief Jaguar is dispatching a couple of platoons of strikers up here now to assist his teammate. Build capacity spam up a T1 PD in the nick of time, and that will be enough to finish off this attack. And the question is, what has that run by done to Bone Collector's power? All of the T1 P-gens have been taken out pretty much. He has got the Hydro still, thank goodness, because he's down to around 300-400 generated power now, net. And if he lost much more, that wouldn't have left him much to spare at all. But would you look at this, tactical missile launcher online and one in the clip ready to go. Potential mass sniping on the cards here from Team 1. Zale sends in his Mantis to utilize the onboard build capacity. Try and speed up the production of some TAC missiles on there. Generally a good idea to get a few of them in the clip so that when you launch that attack, you get as much damage dealt as possible before your opponent starts building tactical missile defense. Out comes a Star Lifter, and control transferred over to Chief Jaguar, and it looks like we've got a comm drop on the cards there. Chief Jaguar loads up his ACU, and another one out as well. So both these guys looking at some kind of ACU drop now, having just mentioned it at the start, and we get one here. And I'm wondering if this is some kind of planned scheme or as a reaction to the fact that they've lost map control and been under such pressure throughout. Both of these guys looking for an avenue. As we hold shift and see the waypoints now, so they're looking to come via the top left-hand corner, and it does seem as though Zale is the #1 target, priority target in round here somewhere into the main base. Makes sense, of course. He is way out on top in terms of eco, 73 generated mass per tick, and there are interceptors right there. Oh, it's going to be close. He's spotted the transports, but those Starlifters have too much of a lead. I think it's going to be very close indeed. They're going to have to be crisp with these landings. They don't want to hang about in the base, so we could lose an ACU here. Bone Collector dropped off nice and quickly, as is Achieved Jaguar. The interceptors come in, but too little, too late. Will they fly off and try and shoot down the Starlifters, I wonder? Well, one of them's going to hang around anyway and try and snipe the energy storage. But back to the battle that's happening now on the ground. Bone Collector is taking fire from the T1 point defenses that are being spammed up by the build capacity in the base there for Zale. Bone Collector down into the yellow and falling 6,400 hit points and plummeting very quickly indeed. Achieved Jaguar has two T1 PDs and soon to be 3 online already. Nice overcharge deals the last of the auto guns there from Bone Collector, but he's very low indeed. 1,600, 1,700 hit points left. In come some T1 bombers and indeed a Renegade. They feel like they might get a kill here. Bone Collector deep into the red, but he needs just a couple more kills to get another rank in veterancy, and he'll retain some more hit points, and not before time. It's going to be very close indeed. He didn't get the kill there, so he's still on 38 of 40, and there's still the threat in the skies overhead. He has brought in some of his own T1 intercepts, and there goes the rank of vet back up to 4,400 hit points. That will give him a little bit more breathing room. Achieved Jaguar has spammed up 3 T1 PDs, and they're doing a lot of the groundwork in the base, eliminating structures, but Achieved Jaguar is going to roll out to the right with his HCU to work on the Zuis from Chiramba, who has rolled in those reinforcements from the southeast. Another Renegade out and going after Bone Collector's HCU. 2,200 hit points and falling. Another wave of interceptors being brought in by Bone Collector to try and help defend that ACU, who's now down to around 1,800. Down goes the Renegade, and again a little bit more breathing room now for these 2 ACUs, which are getting work done, but in a perilous situation nonetheless. More Zuis rolling in from the bottom right. I wouldn't mind a few Thams here if I was Chiramba. These guys are completely disregarding their own base up at the top right, as you can see, because there's a lot of ground forces now in the base there of Bone Collector. He has basically let that go and is focusing 100% on the action down here. He's got another rank in veterancy, and he can spend all day dodging these Zui shells. Yes, they do more damage, but he needs some quick direct fire to be laid down on these experimentals. Bone Collector now a 3-starred ACU, 6,800 hit points, and looking healthy now compared to where he was a moment ago. In comes Chief Jaguar and Bone Collector now in towards Taramba's base, which is also looking pretty ill defended. Up in the middle, the 2 ACUs there for Team 1 are busy fortifying. We've got power generators going up for Zale, who basically is going to have to re-establish a new base in the center, his old base lying in tatters. Meanwhile, we've got 2 cruisers on the field there for Taramba, one of which has gone to town on Chief Jaguar's base, and also those ground forces on the move, having eliminated all but the production structures pretty much in Bone Collector's base. We've still got 5 Mantis that are kicking about in the main base there. I feel like they could have stuck around and prioritized that T2 Air HQ a little better, but back to the action down here at the bottom of the map. Bone Collector on 12,000 hit points and climbing. He's now up to 4 stars on that comm. 1 more rank of vet left to attain. And now Chiramba's base is looking in a perilous situation as well. In fact, Chiramba heading back from the relative safety of the center of map with his ACU. He has the gun upgrade on board and the T2 engineering suite. Bone Collector and Chief Jaguar tearing down all the structures in that second base there for Team 1. There is still another band of Thams working on the hydrocarbon up here for Chief Jaguar. Strikers rolling in to defend, and that hydrocarbon I think is going to survive with 192 hit points on as well. How significant is that T2 Air Factory going to be? Well, I don't think we're going to see any more Starlifters being produced out of there for the moment until Bone Collector can sort out his eco and power issues. Mass looking okay, but he hasn't got the power readily available to dump into any major production. We've now got mobile missile launchers targeting Bone Collector's ACU. Needs to get that thing on the move. Where is Chirinchiramba's ACU? Well, it's still heading south. ETA is probably about 15 seconds or so before he's up front and personal, up close and personal with a Chief Jaguar's ACU. Build capacity in the base, goes to work on a T1 PD, gets one of them online just as a Chief Jaguar lands a very significant overcharge, taking about a quarter of those NGs in that area out. Needs to get another overcharge in there quickly, although he doesn't have a lot of power to spare at all. He's right on the breadline there, so his overcharges are going to be very few and far between. And Bone Collector actually setting up shop down here, so it looks like we've got a bit of a base steal situation on the cards here. Chief Jaguar caps one of the point defenses that's been thrown together quickly by Chirinchiramba. Needs to deal with the other one in an ideal world and take care of the rest of the NGs down here as well. Those engineers taking a long time to finish construction of that. Where is Chirinchiramba's ACU? That is the question. I know there's a hotkey, but I still haven't learnt it. And he is now going for a comm drop as well. Chirinchiramba loaded onto a T2 transport. This could be a full-on base trade situation now as it comes in for a landing in the center of the Bone Collector's main base. And there's not a lot in this area that I think can stop him. We do have some engineers working on point defense down here, one of which, in fact, 3 of which are T2, so he could get some triads online as well as the T1 PDs, and if they can shut Chirinchiramba out of that base, we could be on for a surprise victory here for Team 2, but still a long way to go. Taking a look at the eco side of things, Zale, who's been pretty quiet for the last 10 minutes or so, has ecoed reasonably well and is out in the lead still. 49 mass per tick. You compare that to everybody else's 31, 27, 11. That's pretty significant amounts of mass. Total mass accrued 53k. As we head back up to the top of the map, see how Chirinchiramba's getting on. He's getting absolutely mobbed by UEF strikers. He's down to about 45% of his total hit points. That equates to around 5,000 hit points. And things aren't looking good at all for Chirinchiramba, who, with the best intentions, went for a counter comm drop, and it just hasn't worked out. He didn't have the support, even though Zale has rolled in with his comm as well. So Team 1 lose one of their 2 players, and full share is on. So, of course, somewhere a fairy has died due to terminal hemorrhoids, poor thing. So Zale will get another boost to his eco, up to 77 mass per tick now for him. Meanwhile, in a Chief Jaguar's base, everything is in pieces thanks to the cruiser that's just been firing unencumbered from the relative safety of the bay here. Nothing really that a Chief Jaguar can do about it. I don't know. I was saying it looked like we might be on for a Team 2 victory here. Yes, Chirinchiramba's gone down. Yes, Zale's been dislodged, but for the 2 ACUs which are cut off from their main bases down here, they haven't been successful or totally successful in re-establishing a new base of operations down here. And now we have hordes of rhinos that are heading up to the top right-hand corner of the map, and Zale in pretty comfortable situation here, setting up shop in Bone Collector's old base. So what an absolute mess this game has been from start to finish. 21 minutes has gone by, and I quite frankly don't know what's going on anymore. We've got another cruiser that we did have up here working on a Chief Jaguar's base. That is now heading back down towards Zale's, formerly Trinchuramba's naval HQ, to help stifle the expansion of Team 2 in this area of the map. 2 ACUs there for Team 2, heading up towards Zale's old base, now in the kind of core mass region. Wondering if they're thinking about an ACU assault on Zale's new base in the center. Needs to be careful. This is a significantly more dangerous place to be than their current position. And Zale having major power issues. You can see only putting out 28 mass per tick at the moment until he can get that rectified.
Commander under attack.
Starlifter goes to work there on the commander. That was all Bone Collector could do before that base, that HQ, got taken out. Get another transport in the air, and I'm wondering if he's going to pull his commander back over to that side of the map. Wave of scout planes out there for Zale, flying over top of the 2 commanders there for Team 2. Starlifter inbound, and Zale doesn't really have any interceptors with which to deny that. In fact, control has been transferred over to a Chief Jaguar, so it's going to be a Chief Jaguar who is moving his commander. Chief Jaguar with the T3 engineering suite on board, but no Zeph amp, so he doesn't have the gun, but can build the more funky weapons. Lots of rhinos in a Chief Jaguars and Bone Collector's base up here. An attack ping went down there on the hydrocarbon, like Trinchuramba trying to remind his teammate of a target of opportunity there. And finally, we might see that hydro get taken out. In comes Chief Jaguar on that Starlifter and doesn't make landfall, curiously enough. It looks like he's actually going to go for an attack on Zale's new base. Must be very confident about the lack of anti-air in there, and he certainly is, and he was right to be, but has he got the sustainability and the damage to overwhelm this fortification? There's a lot of Cerberus turrets in here, and we know Cerberus turrets aren't the best point defense in the world. That commander is pretty chunky with that T3 engineering suite on board at 25,200 hit points. And what's he trying to cap? He's trying to cap one of the Cerberus turrets there and manages it. Starts reclaiming the engineers. That will stifle production of the auto guns. Chief Jaguar's lost about 50% of his hit points now. Finishes up reclaiming the other engineers, all but 2 of them. Very nicely judged, potentially, from Chief Jaguar. He's also got the Starlifter in tow as well, going after that T2 power generator, and that will really shut down Zale. We saw the problems he was having just a moment ago. If a Chief Jaguar can take that T2 power generator out, there goes a couple of more reclaim orders out on the engineers. That T3 engineering suite, of course, massively increasing the speed with which he can reclaim things. Quick overcharge deals with that Rhino. Needs to finish off the T2 P-Gen. There it goes. And what has that done to Zale's power grid? Well, it's absolutely killed it. Attack pings out down here, presumably from Trinchuramba. He's saying TML the power. Well, he must have a tactical missile launcher somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where, because there's no front line left on this board. He might be talking about the 2 cruisers in the bay down there. In fact, he doesn't have one. Zale's saying TML question mark. Chief Jaguar, though, no! Looking incredibly close. 50 odd hit points left, and there he goes. Excuse me. So a Chief Jaguar must have just taken his eye off the ball for a moment, stuck around for too long in the field of fire with the last few Cerberus turrets in there. In fact, it might have been the Rhinos coming in from the top right. And there's the TML he was talking about. So originally, of course, that was the one we saw from Turin Turamba. That switched over to control for Zale at Turin Turamba's death because of the loathsome full share option. Although you could argue it's made this game more interesting. It's not always the case. But it is now a 1v1. Zale massively in the lead on eco. Might be down to reclaim partially. He's still having power issues. Needs to get those sorted, and he really will be out in front. Bone Collector on just 11 generated mass per tick. So not looking good for him. He's in the main base trying to get some work done. Has queued up a few T1 PDs. He's going to go and reclaim the T2 land HQ. There's another T2 air HQ right there which you'll want to get rid of, which is currently producing Corsairs and fighter bombers, which could ultimately cause all kinds of problems there for Bone Collector. There goes the T2 land HQ. And a move order cancels the T1 PD. I'm not really sure why he hasn't built at least one T1 PD in here. It would seem sense to me. Get some extra firepower on the ground. But then, having said that, his eco is in the latrine right now. And he will want to save all of the mass he can. So that Corsair hovering above Bone Collector's newly constructed base, formerly the province of Zale. Now with 2 kills to its name. Bone Collector strolling towards that bank of T1 point defense there. And then rolls out of danger, but at this point, you would imagine Zale happy to just roll in towards Bone Collector's base with those Rhinos and end it all. There are a few pillars on the field, though, coming up towards Bone Collector's commander to assist. Turin Turamba desperate for his teammate not to forget about the tactical missile launcher, and it doesn't, and it's not anywhere near having any more missiles in there either. It's about a quarter done. So he might be way ahead of Bone Collector on mass, but he hasn't got enough power to sustain production. So everything operating at a snail's pace right now. Rhinos and pillars merge with one another in an engagement which I will imagine will go better for the Rhinos. They have superior numbers. And stray into range of the T1 point defense there in that new base for Bone Collector. What a shame that the Chief Jaguar got taken out there. Very gutsy play indeed, and it looked like it was working. But there really hasn't been a lot of time to get any comprehensive intel together in this match, and I'm wondering if that's what caught him out. Bone Collector fortifying the position around his commander with lots of T1 static emplacements, lots of T1 anti-air in fact. Worried, I guess, about the potential for some gunship or Corsair attack. Got a lot of jesters rolling out towards his position over here, and at the moment the rally point is set very ill indeed. Those jesters rolling in there and getting eviscerated as soon as they turn up on the scene. But these Rhinos now just steaming into this base, and this will be the end of Bone Collector's already very modest economy. Down to just 9 mass per tick. Once the T1 P-Gens are gone as well, he is going to be limited to almost no economy at all. 220 power there, and that is not enough to sustain the tiny amounts of production that he needs it to. Engineers passing one another up here in the slowest and dullest conflict of the match so far. You would think this is just a formality now for Zale to tidy up, but of course he's had his eco problems, so it's still going to take him a while to get established properly and be able to finish this game off. Lots of engineers up here need to be tidied up first of all. Last thing Zale wants is another front opened up next to his new base up here. You've got to love the inventive three-dimensional play in this one. Both teams happy to relocate. Battle has been incredibly fluid, 32 minutes. But it feels like a lot longer, an awful lot has happened. I think we can afford to dump a couple of units of speed onto this one. Bone Collector trying to get his power grid re-established, but it's going to take a long time to get anything significant done from his current position, and even if he does manage to get that sorted, he has no real access to mass right now. Dale rolling in with his ACU, tidies up the newly constructed set of factories personally, rolls in with some jest as well, and that's all going to get Control K to deny even the kills to Zale. Bone Collector well aware that they were ultimately going to be ineffectual. Bone Collector trying to get a fusion reactor online, T2 P-Gen. And it looks like Zale mounting Corsairs now for the kill. How many do we have on there? So we've got 12 on the field, ready to go. In comes one of them, testing the firepower, and there's quite a lot of anti-air down there from those rail guns. But Zale feels like he's got enough. He's going to roll in towards Bone Collector. The first volley will catch him napping, and almost every rocket of that flurry will connect. Another couple coming as well. He's down to around 8,400 hit points. They're starting on their second run now, but the Corsairs are starting to go pop. Bone Collector now furiously microing his comm, trying to avoid as much of that incoming fire as he can. 4,000 hit points and falling. There goes another couple of Corsairs, but they are mounting in number now. Seemingly, it seems, Zale constructing them quicker than they're being destroyed. 2,000 hit points and falling. It's going to be very close, but Zale throws out the GG. He knows he's got him as the Rhinos come in from the southwest as well. Valar Morghulis indeed. There goes Team 2, and Zale rightfully, I think, emerges victorious. Little desync at the end, which we won't worry about. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I certainly did. As always, more to come from me in the future. Don't forget, if you feel so inclined, you can support me on Patreon. But until next time, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.